Morning, everyone. Better on here. I wanted to tell y'all folks that I saw Mulan the other day, the new one, 2020, the live action one, and it was actually a bit of a disappointment. It was said to be a remake, and it was said to be, not exactly a play-by-play remake of the 1998 cartoon. And so they added a lot of different things, and I heard the director is some Australian woman or something who may not necessarily have the best understanding of this Asian culture. And so I thought it was bizarre on all fronts. Everything about it, including adding chi, including, what is the purpose of the witch, including who is Mulan in this new movie? What are her values? And it becomes a bit muddled. It becomes very muddled, and this idea of true to yourself and then respecting your respecting your family, honoring them, and serving the emperor. It all becomes so muddled that I can't really say for sure what is the ultimate lesson of Mulan if you were not to watch the original 1998 movie. And I didn't like it. I just did not like it. It was bizarre. But I wanted to take this opportunity to really comment on a movie that I love. I love Mulan from the cartoon movie. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm wearing a mask, it's because right now there are wildfires going on in the entire West Coast. Oregon is actually a bit is actually has the worst air quality right now in the world, with Portland being, I think, about 350 AQI the other day. And so I still get a bit of it indoors, and this probably doesn't do much, but better than nothing. And so going back to Mulan, it's a great movie. I enjoyed it as a kid, and then when I was a teacher, I showed this to my students and they loved it as well. This was in South Korea, and so they were mildly familiar with, Chinese culture, and they just loved it. It's so funny, even though it's made in America. They understood the humor, the cartoons, and, the threat, because everybody knows about the threat from the northern invaders, whether it's Mongolians, I don't know, Huns, Manchurians. I think there's a whole bunch of other tribes from the north who are great warriors, right? Which is why the Great Wall was built. All right. So, but the point I wanted to talk about today is why Mulan is the best feminist movie of all time. I think there have been a lot of failed attempts at, good movies for feminism. I think Charlie's Angels, the recent one, was one. You don't just put women in your lead and then say it's a feminist movie. First of all, we have to talk about what does feminism mean. Not femininity, but feminism. And the definition would be, I guess if you want to make it formal, equality of the sexes in, political, legal standpoints. If we want to look at it from a simple layman explanation, it's, in my opinion, anything a man can do, a woman can do. If a man can vote, a woman can do that too. If a man can own property, a woman can do that too. If a man can become a doctor, a woman can do that too. It does not mean that every woman should be a doctor. It means that they should not be restricted from trying to be, or once they have it, to be seen as less than capable because of their gender. And so that's why Mulan is an excellent feminist movie. She's going against the grain. So first of all, there's that idea of, I guess it's a bit of an American idea too, just going against the grain, doing what you believe is right, even though, for doing for your family or honor or whatnot. That's stuff in that old school, like, Chinese values. And so that's what she does. And during throughout the movie, she is not the strongest person. All right, that'll be Shang the general, but she perseveres. All right, she's clumsy. She's not really a macho type of chick. You know, she's not like a Serena Williams or Annika Kournikova or Megan Roplin. You know, she's not that macho, athletic person, but she has a will to do so, and more importantly, she doesn't succeed by just using raw strength. If she were to compete on raw strength with other dudes or the Huns, Shan Yu, she would falter, right? What she does is she has wits and strategy and alliances. And it's from those values that she's able to really do a lot. And that's what makes it so powerful. It does not mean women are the strongest people. It just means you can be capable of doing things. And your gender should not stop you. That's the message. Because inherently, we are all different. Forget genders, forget races, forget religion, forget age. We are all very different people. Does not mean we cannot strive to be capable, competent individuals. All right. So let's take a look at this trailer, and then I'll talk a bit about the movie and why it's the best feminist movie of all time. Yeah, it's 1998. That's pretty old.
We're under attack! Send your troops to protect my people.
By order of the Emperor, one man from every family must serve in the Imperial Army.
Father, you can't go. Please, sir. My father has already fought bravely.
Silence!
It's an honor to protect my country and my family.
So you'll die for honor.
I will die doing what's right.
So I love that. First of all, because there's a lot of, I guess, first of all, you won't see this type of talk from modern day Chinese folks, right? This is very old conservative values regarding, actually you probably see it across the world, right? Honor, this sort of, which I believe is actually tied to male ego as well and pride. And then down the generations that becomes sort of a tradition, even if you may not have an ego, right? Honor killings I've mentioned before, they have to do with honor. Chivalry, it has to do with honor. The virginity of women has to do with honor. So no matter, based on a lot of situations where I've heard honor, which is not so much of a modern day term that we use. It's probably, I think maybe a modern day equivalent would be honor. Honor would be, what would be the modern day equivalent of honor? Clout? No. It's something that I guess the modern day would be just pride and ego, narcissism a bit, right? This gentleman, the Mulan's father, he doesn't want to look weak, even though he's an old man. He does not want to look weak in front of everybody. That's pride, ego. He could greatly ask, please, can you just say, like, give me a pass, man. I'm like old, I'm eating old prunes every day for my fiber. Can I get a pass? But no, he just puts on the cane and he walks off. And very old school, more conservative value. And I guess what's interesting is his daughter just does not do that. She has her own idea of, why are you going to fight again for the emperor? You've already done so much, and I love you, Dad. And instead of listening to her father, which a good daughter would do, right? Confucian, right? I don't know what period Mulan is in, but Confucianism has been around for a long, long time. And Confucianism, it's not you as a child going forth and making your best decisions. It's you as a child, you listen to your mother and father because they know best. Now for me, my mother is not educated and not really the person who provided mentorship and guidance to me in my life. So I've never really ever been in that position where I look to her in that way. Well, that's a touchy topic for me, but it's not something that I can understand. I've always had to become my own man, my own source of light and guidance, and leading myself to making the right or best decisions. A lot of which times was a bad decision, but I had to make them, and so I guess for that reason I kind of followed the more American ideal of moving out at 18 and figuring things out on your own, which is very stressful during that time. However, as you mature, you realize how important those decisions, whereas maybe across the world, a lot more people are willing to live with their parents for a longer time. And that constricts sometimes the amount of independence and decision making, right? Because if they're living at home, there are certain decisions and responsibilities that aren't theirs. For example, if you don't pay let's say you live with your parents and you pay rent, probably a subsidized rate. If you don't pay rent, what are the consequences? Are your parents going to evict you? Are the parents gonna, shut down your electricity? Probably not. In the real world, eviction is a very, very large possibility. Legal consequences are another possibility. Credit, people trying to hit your credit, that's another possibility. So there's a lot of more at stake. But going back to this, yes, for Mulan, it's traditional. Listen to your parents; they know best. And I think you might see this more in South Korea, where I've lived before, because they hadn't had the the communist overthrow, whereas cultural overthrow, book burning, very ugly situation. If you're, I guess, pro CCP, sorry to hear that, but hey, I'm living in America. I can make those critiques as I see fit. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that it's changing the values, especially this Confucian value, which led Chinese society for so long. Okay, let's continue. Oh, and that's also a funny thing too. Ancestors and worshiping them, and also relying on them for help. Very old school. My family personally, they actually prayed to ancestors every day. Offered them fruit.
I reveal her, she will be.
Soldiers! You will assemble swiftly and silently every morning. Anyone who acts otherwise will answer to me. Fire!
First of all, this trailer doesn't seem that fun actually. When you watch the real movie and then you see this is actually like an action thriller or something.
We're the only hope for the Emperor now.
Are we in this together or not?
If we die with honor.
I've got an idea.
Oh, there's that word again, honor. If we die with honor. And has this, instead of being running away, you are gonna die, I guess, in a way that other people can give you respect. That I think it has to do with a bit of pride and ego. I understand the reasoning, but wouldn't it also be helpful if you were to run away and fight another day? Wouldn't it be helpful also to run away and give intel back to the emperor about how many people there are? So I definitely understand. It's honor again. It's an old school idea.
Single grain of rice.
It's like honor is like when someone calls you out at school when you're in grade school for a fight, and then you have to show up, right? Even if this person is a lot bigger than you, you have to show up. Otherwise, you look like a pussy. Not my words. That's basically what the terms we used back then. And then, although if you were to be strategic about it, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to reject that. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll say I'll train and then I'll fight you. Or I'm going to challenge you to, a math challenge or something. Or a jump rope challenge. Or a video game Street Fighter challenge or something. But that's honor. It strikes at something deep within, I think, people in general. But it's definitely more apparent when we talk about men and when they're called out in fights or situations and they need to be manly. And they have to show that strong front. Same as the dad, same as the general just said.
This game. Man may be the
Now
difference
it's
between
all to
victory
do with
and
ego,
defeat.
pride.
The greatest gift and honor
Of course,
is having you for
you can only realize all that once you can understand the human psyche. And I mean, I think modern emotional intelligence, it's something that's been long researched and understood, and it's taken so long because for the longest time we just deal with these feelings and then we put labels on them. Someone's jealous that other men are talking to their wives. Okay, well, now they're going to not allow their wives in public and say it's to protect women and it's law or something. Maybe I can't think of any other old school laws. But let's continue.
The flower that blooms.
Okay, there's that word honor again. Can someone define honor to me? I've already given my understanding, but if you have a better definition of honor,
Mulan.
especially when it comes to the modern context, definitely let me know. Alright, so that's the trailer, and in terms of the movie, I think it was amazing. And if for anyone that has a young daughter, I think this is a great movie to show them. First, it's a very kid-friendly movie. Secondly, it's very well written. Overall, if you look at the ratings for this movie, it's all very good. And more importantly, the whole idea of Mulan, I think this is also important. She is a feminist icon, not a feminine icon. I think that's probably the biggest confusion, point of confusion a lot of maybe other so-and-so feminist character designers have made, is that they cannot distinguish the difference between feminism and femininity, right? I already mentioned Charlie's Angels. That was pretty silly. And then when it flopped at the box office, the investor? She's an actress herself. She said it was because of the patriarchy. Okay, no, it's probably a bunch of different things, but also it probably has to do with your bad reviews from critics. Another awful one, I think, was the Jurassic World, and the character lady, the lady working for the Jurassic Park Corporation, she was supposed to be a feminist character. And what did she do during the movie? She has Chris Pratt save her. The only time she actually gets dirty, down and dirty, is I think when she has to move something, and what she does is she pulls up her sleeves and then I'm ready to go. It's stupid. And the level of stupidity and incompetence in designing those characters can be seen when you see a character like Mulan, who is not feminine at all. In fact, she is bad at being feminine. That's why she can't be a good wife to the matchmaker, right? Another great feminist example is Ripley. Yeah, you can go ahead and debate me on that. I'm going to win 10 out of 10 times. Ripley from Alien. Let's think about it. She's never dressed up, dolled up. And she's just like one of the folks, one of the, what are they, Marines on the ship. And what does she do in the movie? I mean, she's shows some fear, shows some apprehension, but generally she's a good person with a good head on her shoulders, and she resolves to kill the alien. And then Alien 2, actually she doesn't become feminine, but she has these motherly roles, but she's still kicking ass. All these different guys, she's like flamethrowing, she's using the robot arms to crush their heads, you know. And so those are some great examples of feminist icons in cinema, and they're not in any way feminine. So so that's very important. And I actually think sometimes they might be conflicting. I think that sometimes when we talk about hyper feminine icons, such as, let's say, Kim Kardashian, or let's say Cardi B. Now, at this point, I can understand why people would disagree with me. They are using their sexuality and their femininity to actually gain power. All right, men don't do that. It is uniquely available to certain women who have, sexual prowess. You could say the same possibly of, a geisha, based on the movie, right? Memoirs of a Geisha. They themselves are, because of being a woman, they don't have power in society, but using their femininity, they can, I guess, influence men to give up their power or to empower them through money or, I don't know, kind of like OnlyFans, but 500 years ago. So, you know what I mean? And now, is that feminism? Because we just talked about equality of the sexes, and I would disagree. I would say that's femininity, and it's leveraging that in order to gain power, and that's fine, but I would never want to say that's feminism. All right? Again, femininity, feminism, very different, relating to being a woman, but ultimately they have different paths to gaining power. That's how I see it, or finding a place in society. That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it. All right. So again, Mulan, great movie. Check it out. Not the new one. Just rewatch the old cartoon. Take care.